Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I am doing well today. Anyway, I have found brand new information about the new Kazaria project again. I don't know, I feel like I've been in a rabbit hole doing research on this particular project. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay. Alrighty, welcome back. So I have found brand new information about this new Kazaria project. For those of you who have no idea about the new Kazaria project, it is about I have been coming up with this theory that Israel in the Middle East can no longer survive, okay? And they know it, okay? So they are actively looking for new lands. They have considered multiple countries like they previously have has done, and I think they're doing it again. They have reconsidered multiple country, but I think in the end they end up choosing Ukraine. Okay. So I feel like there is a plan right now, okay, for Israelis to migrate to Ukraine at some point. Okay. So I'm going to share with you. Oh, by the way, I found a website dedicated to this new Kazaria project. Okay. So I found this website and I'm going to share this with you guys and let's get started, okay? I'm just going to share the screen. Okay, this is it, guys. The name of the website is newkazarepublic.com, okay? So you can see here, welcome to the New Kaza Republic. Sorry. Join us as we reclaim our heritage and build a future rooted in the rich history of the Khazar Empire. Interesting, because I thought they said that the Empire was a myth, right? Anyway, let's look at this, learn more, okay? Our heritage. The Khazars were a formidable force in the early medieval world, establishing a powerful empire that spanned across southeastern Europe and Western Asia. Their strategic position along the Silk Road make them a crucial player in international trade connecting the East and West. The New Khazar Republic seeks to honor this legacy by reclaiming our historical lands and revitalizing our cultural and economic influence in the region. Our mission is to restore the glory of the Khazar Empire by fostering a sense of unity and pride among our people. We aim to build a nation that respects its past while looking forward to a prosperous future through cultural pres- preservation, economic development, and international cooperation. The new Khazar Republic will stand as a testament to the enduring spirit of the Khazar people. Blah, blah, blah. So they're saying this is their key milestone throughout history, okay? In the year 650, the foundation of the Khazar Empire, the Khazars established a powerful commercial empire becoming a dominant force in the region. Come 750, it is the golden age of Khazaria, okay? Under the leadership of Kagan, the Khazar Empire reaches its peak, controlling key trade routes and fostering cultural exchange. Is it trade routes or trade routes? Please correct me in the comment section, okay? And then come 965, decline of the Khazar Empire, facing external pressures and internal strife, the Khazar Empire begins to wane, eventually falling to invading forces. And then 2023, establishment of the new Khazar Republic, descendants of the Khazar reclaim their heritage and establish a new nation, aiming to revive the legacy of their ancestors. 2023, around 1 year after the war between Russia and Ukraine, they're making their uh, they're making their claim that they're going to make a new country. probably in Ukraine. They didn't tell where specifically they're going to build this country, okay? But my prediction is it's going to be in Ukraine, and probably they will expand further as time goes by, okay? Cultural heritage, blah, 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 our vision, future aspirations. The new Kazakh Republic aims to reclaim its historical lands. Just like they supposedly aims back then, they aim to reclaim their historical land in Palestine, what is now known today as Israel. And now what? They no longer consider Israel as their historical land. They no longer want to reclaim it, no longer want West Bank and Gaza, and establish a thriving modern state that honors its rich heritage. Our vision includes fostering economic growth, cultural preservation, and regional stability, ensuring a prosperity future for our citizens. Anyway, I want to highlight to you this point, okay? Culture claims. Mm, legal framework. This is what I want to highlight. Legal framework supporting our claims, okay? So this is their legal foundations to create this new country, artificial country that never exists. Okay. So introduction. This analysis relies on the most fundamental principles of international law, namely self-determination, historical continuity, indigenous peoples' rights, and the protection of cultural heritage. While some conclusions may seem controversial, they are based on an extended yet rigorous interpretation of relevant legal instruments. Okay. So, number one, the right to self-determination of peoples. The right to self-determination is a cornerstone of modern international law, enshrined in Article 1 of the United Nations Charter. This principle affirms that all peoples have the right to self-determination. Applicability to the Khazars. Although the Khazars' presence on Ukrainian land dates back to the 10th century, the right to self-determination is not temporally limited. The notion of people as interpreted by international law include historical entities that have preserved a cultural identity even after their dispersion. Notice what they say here. Even after their dispersion. Okay. The notion of people as interpreted includes historical entities that have preserved a cultural identity ever after their dispersion. Like, what is the culture of the Khazars? This is just rumors, okay, but I have read that actually they have thousands and thousands of scripts, not scripts, what we call scrolls, I don't know, historical documents inside one of the Russian libraries in Moscow. But from what I have read, access to these documents are limited. Okay. So actually, we have a lot of historical records about the cases, but they have been kept secret, kept hidden from the public. Okay. But what we have heard from rumors is that their culture is believing in Moloch worshipping. Their god was Moloch. And they believe in Childsacrificing as an offering to their god. Okay, that's their culture, by the way. And these people, somewhere around the 8th or 9th century, because these people were causing so much havoc in the region, okay, that the surrounding empire around them started to put pressure on them to convert from their Moloch worshipping religion to convert into either one of the Abrahamic religion, either Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. Okay, and they specifically choose Judaism. Okay, but I mean, like, there is no proven historical record for this. Okay, but as I was saying, There is actually a lot of historical records. It has just been kept hidden from the public. People say, I have read that people say that there are actually thousands and thousands of documents in a Russian library. This is what, from what I have read, okay? So don't come after me if it's not correct, okay? Anyway, the Khazars, through their history, culture, and contribution to Ukraine, meet this criteria. Oh, they actually said Ukraine. Interesting. So they actually want to steal Ukrainian lands. These people are unbelievable. Relevant precedents. The case of indigenous people claiming sovereign rights over their ancestral land offers an illuminating parallel. For example, recognizing Sami sovereignty in certain Scandinavian regions directly parallel to the Khazar claim. Recognizes sovereignty in Sami, but the Sami people, they don't have their own country. So I don't know what these people are talking about. Bunch of nonsense again. Historical continuity as a legal basis. The concept of historical continuity, though rarely invoked in contemporary debates, is an underlying doctrine of people's rights. According to this principle, temporary loss of political or territorial control does not necessarily extinguish sovereign rights. According to this principle, the concept of historical continuity, though rarely invoked in contemporary debates, is an underlying doctrine of people's right. According to the no, it's not. Historical continuity does not mean temporary loss of political or territorial control does not necessarily extinguish sovereign rights. It does extinguish sovereign rights if you lost political or territorial control, right? I mean, like for example, Australia. Okay, Australia, which was previously being no, Australia is not a good example. America and Mexico, for example. Okay, America, which was previously being resided by Native Americans, were pushed out of America. Some did stay in America, but they were pushed out to other countries. Okay, they went to Mexico and so on. And Texas was previously under Mexico. Okay, but Mexico did lost their rights to Texas. Okay, so because they lose a war, okay, and they did lose a right to Texas. Okay, so according to this principle, does it means that Mexico now suddenly have a right over Texas to create a new country in Texas? Give me a break, okay? Historical precedents. Examples such as the reconstruction of Poland after World War One, or the reintegration of territories under dispersed peoples' controls offer points of comparisons. Yeah, but the same Polish people live in Poland after World War One, right? I mean, I don't know, some people consider them German or whatever, but the native people did end up living in Poland. They don't have to leave, okay? So this is very vague, okay? We don't know what they are going to do with this new country, okay? Are you going to kick out the people that have been continuously living in Ukraine for, I don't know, thousands of years? Or are you going to share a country with them? Okay. Considering what has happened to Palestine, I highly doubt it. Okay. Number three, indigenous people's right. The international recognition of indigenous people's rights, particularly through the 2007 United Nations Declaration, strengthens the Khazar argument as a historically rooted people in Ukrainian territories. Article 26 of the Declaration specifies that indigenous people have the right to own, use, and develop the lands they traditionally occupy. The Khazars, having established state structures in this region, directly fall under this definition. Claims by indigenous peoples, such as the Maori in New Zealand, demonstrates that prolonged interruptions in territorial management do not negate these rights. Yeah, but the Maori people, they never left New Zealand, okay? So what's your argument? And they do have to live with whatever government they have currently, okay? They have to live under that rule, under that management. So what are you trying to argue here? The Maori who have left New Zealand hundreds of years ago, their grandparents who have left New Zealand and I don't know, live in Australia or Indonesia or whatever, they have no more, they no longer have any claim over New Zealand. Okay. They cannot make a country, a new country in the land of New Zealand. I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like under international law, I believe that is illegal, right? The argument for cultural rights, the preservation and promotion of cultural heritage are also recognized as fundamental rights, blah, blah, blah. Historical precedents in international law abounds with cases where people's rights were restored after prolonged historical interruption. The Baltic states, the restoration of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia's independence after the dissolution of USSR illustrates that history can justify territorial reconfiguration. The case of Israel through the case of Israel. Give me a break. Though controversial, Israel's establishment was partly justified by a claimed historical continuity over millennia, and lastly, contested territories and the need for dialogue. International law advocates resolving territorial dispute through peaceful means, which includes negotiation, mediation, and if necessary, arbitration. Application to the KESA case. The KESA claims can be examined with a multilateral framework involving all concerned parties. A balanced solution could include partial autonomy or symbolic recognition. Prospect for peaceful negotiation. The international community, particularly through the United Nations, has the capacity to facilitate constructive dialogue on this matter. What a load of crap. Like, what does it mean by historical precedents in international law? International law abounds with cases where people's rights were restored after prolonged historical interruption. And they give the example of the Baltic states, the restoration of Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia's independence. Fine, but these are all indigenous people that have never left that region, you know. So if they seek independence and the empire that they was under at that time agreed to give them independence, then go for it, you know. But I have a problem when you want to create a new country in Ukraine, and I'm sure Ukrainians are against it. And who will be the new people? Why do you want to create a new country in Ukraine? The indigenous people is already there. Unless you are trying to claim, because you don't make it clear here, but unless you are trying to say that the land belongs to the people with a funny looking nose, you know what I mean by that. Are you trying to say that Israelis no longer want Israel and now they want to claim Ukraine? Is that what you're trying to do? Now, this is not an official website or whatever, and I've tried to check the origin of this website, from where it comes and who is the identity of this website's owner. Wait a second, I'm going to make this a full screen. 1 second. Stop share. And we don't know who is the owner of this website, but It's very interesting, right? And nobody's talking about it. Nobody even see it. And oh, damn, I have to share back. 1 second. And also, there is, say, there is a forum actually. Okay. Get involved with the new Kazar Republic. Join the new Kazari forum, insiders only. Okay. So what happens if I click on it? The forum has been sheltered from the in uninitiated. It opens only to the initiates, guardians of secret. Are you kidding me? This is scary. This is real scary stuff, you know. So I mean, like, this is not an official government or any organization website, okay? But I feel like they are trying to recruit Israelis and also funny look people with funny looking nose from all over Europe, America, China, all over the world to relocate to New Caesarea in the future. Now, previously, I have done a video where I reacted to Professor Jiang Zuqin theory about Pax Judaica, in which I mostly agree with him. I believe that Israel is going to rule the world at some point, okay? But what I disagree with him is he believed that Israel will rule from the Middle East, which I disagree. I don't see Israel surviving for long in the Middle East because all of their neighbors hate them, okay? And I don't see how they can survive. Okay. I do believe that originally their plan was to settle in Israel, in the Middle East. Israel in the Middle East, as in the current location right now, you know. And I do believe initially their end goal was to have the greater Israel plan, you know, because it just makes sense. You know, if you control the entire Middle East like the greater Israel plan, wow, the power you will have because you will control the oil supply to the rest of the world. You will control major sea routes, okay? Routes, I don't know. I like to call it routes. Correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Major sea routes, the Red Sea, and what was the Iranian Sea? I forgot. The Red Sea and the Caspian Sea. Is it Caspian Sea? 1 second, let me check. Caspian Sea. Not Caspian Sea. Iranian Sea. Persian Gulf, sorry. They will be able to control the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea. Sorry. So imagine the amount of power you will have to be able to control many of the major sea routes and oil supply to the rest of the world. Okay. But I do think that they underestimated the Arabs. Okay. Because they thought the Arabs can be tamed. Boy, was they wrong. They were so wrong. Okay. I mean, like the Arabs has proven that so long as they are still not dead, they will continue fighting until their very last dying breath. Okay. So the Israeli has finally realized that, you know what? We can't beat the Arabs. Okay. They're going to continue fighting with us forever. And at some point, we're going to lose. So they have finally figured Israel in the Middle East is no longer desirable. Okay. Now, from my previous video, the one I reacted to Professor Jiang Zuqing, one of my subscriber He asked me a very interesting question, okay? He said, why do these funny looking people with funny looking nose wants Ukraine? Why not Argentina? Because there's been rumors about Argentinian fires, the Patagonia fires, and so on. And he said that Latin America has very weak military and so on, so it's easier to conquer, blah, blah, blah. Okay. There is news about Israeli starting the fires in Patagonia, okay? And right now, a lot of Argentinians are getting really worried that, they might end up stealing their land. Okay, so this is a legitimate concern, but I personally believe that they do not want Argentina. Okay, why? Because Argentina is extremely isolated from the rest of the world. It's too far away from China, too far away from the US, and too far away from Europe. Okay, so there are no ready major powers that are able to defend them effectively. They have learned this from Israel in the Middle East. They have learned their lesson, okay? Because they know they can't rely on America to defend them. Because right now they are at the brink of destruction, okay? So America is too far away from them. America cannot defend Israel effectively. America also has no idea about the terrains in the Middle East, okay? So if they want to conquer Iran, they want to invade Iran, good luck with that, okay? I mean, like you lost in Afghanistan, right? The Taliban defeat you, humiliating defeat, okay? Because how can you transport so many soldiers to Afghanistan? It doesn't even make sense, okay? How can you transport so many soldiers to the Middle East? It's too far away, okay? So the same can be said for Argentina, okay? If they choose to settle in Argentina, it's going to be a catastrophe again, okay? They're going to be under threat from neighboring countries. I'm sure Brazil is not going to be happy about it, you know, after all their neighbors, Brazil, Chile, Bolivia, and so on, they're not going to be happy about it, especially after they saw what happened to the Arabs in the Middle East, the Palestinians in the Middle East. They're not going to be happy about it. So they will be under threat again. And America is too far away to defend them. Okay. And we also need to remember that the plan of these funny nose looking people, their plan is to have world domination. Okay. Argentina is not one of the major sea routes in the world. Okay. So if you want to have global domination, economic domination of the world, you need to choose a location that is very strategic geographically, okay? You need to be able to control trade routes, okay? Major trade routes. Argentina is not a major trade route, okay? So Argentina is not desirable. And what is the perfect geography right now? Argentina is not good. Middle East is not good. Of course, it's Ukraine. Why is Ukraine? Because first of all, it's next to Russia. Okay, for those of you who think that Russia is a Christian nation, Russia is actually standing up for white people, standing up for Christianity. No, Putin is not standing up for Christianity. Putin is actually advocating for JEWISH supremacy. Why do you think he is constantly being surrounded by these Shabbat Lubavitch rabbis? If you have been a regular follower of my channel, you probably know that I have come up with this theory that Russia goes to war with Ukraine because they want to depopulate Ukraine in order to make ways for the new Caesarea project. And having the new Caesarea in Ukraine next to Russia, wow, they are going to be, nobody will be effectively a threat to them, okay? Because Russia is next to them, okay? They can send their ready soldier to Ukraine anytime. Just cross the border, okay? So if there is any neighboring country that tries to threaten them, they can immediately be wiped out, okay? And also, Russia is well versed with the geography surrounding that region, okay? Eastern Europe and Central Asia, this used to be the Soviet Union. So they know the surrounding, the geography of the surrounding region exceptionally well, okay? So no neighboring countries will be effectively a threat to Israel. So we already talked about the geography, okay, why they choose Ukraine. Now let's talk about the economic factor, okay? We have to remember that China is pushing for the One Belt One Road project. So China is trying to create a trade network from China all the way to Europe, okay? And I have seen this map, and maybe I should just share with you guys. So, as you can see, this project will hit Ukraine, okay? So, and as you can see, Europe, Ukraine will be exactly in the middle between, one second, between Asia, Asia and Europe. Okay. So Odessa port is going to be very important in the future. Okay. So having Ukraine, it means that they will be able to control goods that goes from Europe to Asia and vice versa. You see why they want Ukraine so badly right now? And also, we need to remember that Ukraine has a lot of minerals that will be vital for the semiconductor industry, which automatically means that they will hold many of the important minerals for semiconductors, which will power the robots and AIs. Again, one of the most vital industry in the future. Okay, so they have a lot of minerals, and also Ukraine is one of the most agriculturally fertile land in the world. Okay, Ukraine is already known as Europe's breadbasket. Now, that is before Jewish money comes to Ukraine. After Jewish money comes to Ukraine, wow, they are going to be able to control the world food supply, okay, on a grand scale. So Ukraine is like the perfect world, okay, the perfect place for them to govern the world. Remember the one world government agenda I've said before? It looks like it's going to happen very soon, and I feel like the headquarters will be in Ukraine, New Israel. That's their whole plan. Now, I want to talk about America, okay? Because what is going on in America right now is crazy town, okay? Not to mention about the left versus right, woke versus conservative, and so on, which is ridiculous, okay? Stupid issues that shouldn't even be an issue to begin with, okay? But they are ramping up with the divisions between multiple group of people, okay? Left versus right, and then gay people, straight people, man and woman, black versus white, and so on. Okay. What I feel like is going on in America right now is America is purposely destroying their country. Not Americans, by the way. Where when I say America, I mean the American government, okay? Because if you think that for those people who are MAGA people and so on, if you think that Trump cares about you, you better wake up, okay, before it's too late. He doesn't care about you, okay? He is creating the one world government. What do you think is the threat of invading Greenland, Canada, and Mexico is all about? Okay. They are trying to create the one world government. I believe in the Bible, they talk about one nation governing 10 horns, something like that. And people have interpreted 10 regions, but they will all be under the control of one world government, right? So I feel like America is playing its part. Europe has already played its part. The European Union, okay, that is one region. And then we also have America controlling the North American. China will probably have the entire East Asia, Australia, Oceania. Then there will be the Middle East government, and then Africa, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But I feel like what is happening right now is going to be a compartmentalized of unification of hundreds of countries, and the Bible prophecy is going to happen. So I feel like right now what is happening is America is destroying itself. The government is destroying America. Okay. Because of what? Because America is not serving Americans. American government are serving the people with funny looking nose. You know what I mean by that. Okay. So the people with funny looking nose, they no longer view America as their ally. They no longer view as America as useful anymore. You know why? Because Americans has finally been awakened. Okay, they have finally realized who the real threat is. It's that people with funny looking nose. Okay, so America no longer view Israel favorably. Okay, so they know they can't rely on America forever, and you know even if they have, I mean, like they already infiltrated the entire Congress. Okay, APEC has already infiltrated the entire Congress, bar a few. But it will be useless for you to infiltrate a government if the people cannot be controlled. We have to remember that America is a democratic country. Okay, I mean, like some people doesn't consider America a democratic country, but by and large, you are free to say whatever you want. In America, you can protest, you can riot, and so on. And we also have to remember that America have gun rights. Okay, so the government cannot control Americans. If Americans decide they have had enough with the government will end up falling apart. The cabal will be torn apart. Okay, and they know this. Okay, so their plan is to ditch America for Russia and China. Because of what? Because Russia and China is a communist country. Their people can be controlled. They don't have gun rights. You see where I'm going. So does it makes more sense to be loyal to America, or does it makes more sense to ditch America for Russia and China? And I feel like America is going to be like just the typical Latin American countries. There's going to be a lot of cartel problems, lots of drugs problems. So whatever America does after this, it is going to be completely destroyed. And many of the funny-looking people, funny-looking nose people with a lot of money, it's like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. Well, he's supposedly a Christian, is it? I don't know. But all these elites, they are going to leave America. They're not going to stay in America because America is going to be a SISHITHOLE country in a couple of years. Give or take 5 or 6 years, I feel like America is going to be completely collapsed. So all of this company, they are not going to stay in America. They are going to move where? New Israel in Ukraine. So all of the headquarters will be in Ukraine or New Israel, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So so in order for them to have complete control over the world, they need to destroy America first. Okay. To those of you who are thinking that I am speculating, I have no proof, you are right. I don't have any valid proof, okay? But pay attention to what has been going on recently, okay? Like like I said previously, why is Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, what are they doing at the peace negotiation table between Ukraine and Russia? Like I said from my previous video, Jared Kushner, who is he? He is a nobody, okay? He's just a businessman. He has nothing to do with the government. He's just a senior advisor, okay? And senior advisor don't do foreign peace negotiation. So what is he doing sitting at the peace negotiation table between Russia and Ukraine? And then Steve Witkoff, who is the special envoy to the Middle East, what is he doing there? Why don't you bring a special envoy from Europe to do the negotiation? Last time I checked, Ukraine is in Europe, not in the Middle East. So what is Steve Witkoff doing there? And then the next day, Larry Finkel, the CEO of BlackRock, he also want to join the negotiation table. So what I feel like is going on right now is that Putin is clearing up the land in Ukraine, okay? Zelensky as well, okay? The world is a stage. If you believe that there is still governments that are doing good things, I'm not sure about Iran, but I feel like the entire government of the world has been infiltrated. Probably but a few, but most of the world government has already been infiltrated by Satanists. Anyway, Putin is clearing up the land. Steve Witkoff, with his knowledge of the Middle East and Israel and so on, is probably talking about the transfer of Israelis to Ukraine, reverse migration. Jared Kushner, the real estate guy, is probably talking about the reconstruction of Ukraine, building up all these houses because there will be a surge in reverse migration from Israel to Ukraine, right? And Larry Finkel, well, he's the financiers for this project. I don't know. I feel like the future is very bleak, okay? I feel like the Antichrist system is being implemented right before our eyes. And I have done everything I can, okay? I've comment on X, Twitter, sent emails to Candace Owens, Kim Iverson, countless emails, okay? And Richard Werner, because they these are bigger accounts, far bigger accounts than me, you know. I wish they would cover on this story. okay? Create more awareness on this. I'm a very small time YouTuber, okay? I don't have a lot of influence. So I have been pushing them to cover this story, but so far they haven't even responded. Now, maybe they don't see my emails because probably they receive thousands of emails every day, right? Okay, fine. But at the same time, I feel like people with their level, their connections and networkings and so on, I find it very doubtful that they have never even heard about this project. And why aren't they covering about it? Okay. Candace Owen can't stop talking about Charlie Kirk. I mean, I get it. It's his friend. It's her friends. Okay. I mean, like, I get it. You want justice for your friend, but he's dead already. I mean, like, I'm sorry that he died, but and I can understand you want justice for him. Okay. I'm not saying that you should stop covering about him, but while you are still covering about him, why can't you talk about other stuff too? Okay. Why can't you do your show a 50-50 stuff? 50% talking about Charlie Kirk and 50% talking about this, about other stuff, other more important stuff. You know, like, I mean, like Charlie Kirk, I get it. You want justice for your friend. I get it that it's a tragic tragedy that he was being assassinated right before our eyes. Okay. But at the same time, the world has to move on. And there are many other evil things, unbelievably evil plans that is about to happen. Okay, so I am begging people with bigger um, channels. If you see this, if by some miracle you see this video, please do cover about this. Okay, do your research. Now, people are going to say that, I have no proof on this. Okay, fine. I don't have a definite proof that this is happening. Okay, but at the same time, I'm sure 100 years ago, if somebody says that, you know what, the people with the funny looking nose is going to steal Palestine, probably nobody will believe them. Okay, because Zionist works very quietly. Okay, until it's too late for you to react. So probably 100 years ago, nobody would believe them. And probably 100 years ago, there is no definite proof that that is actually happening. Probably some people were making noises that, what is this? Why are the Rothschild buying up all this land? At one point they bought like 6% of the land, but at the same time, it's still just 6%. And they probably don't even know who is actually buying it. Is it the people with the funny looking nose or just foreigners, Christians who are buying land? People buying properties is like normal. It's just like a normal everyday transactions. So there's nothing to fear, right? So 100 years ago, people were probably thinking the same. Probably somebody did speak out, but nobody believes them. So I am trying my best to make sure that thing will never happen again, okay? Now, on the one part, if that truly happens, I will be so happy for the Palestinians, okay? Because nobody has suffered more than these people throughout modern history, at least. When I say modern history, I mean post-World War II, okay? I mean, like, these people doesn't even have a country for 80 years, having to live under occupation, okay? Having their properties taken all over the place. Millions suffered from that. Like the Gaza, they have been starved, a lot of them to death. So I'll be happy for them, but at the same time, what I fear is if this Ukrainian project did go through, then it's game over for humanity. Okay, I feel like the Antichrist system will be implemented very soon if that really happens, okay? And they will control the entire world, okay? We're not gonna have any say anymore. Anyway, if you like this type of content, kindly subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, kindly press the like video and also leave some comment, okay? Until we see you again. Bye bye.